Hello, friends, and welcome to Tatparya Books. Today, I'm going to review The Shepherd's Life, a memoir by James Rebanks. This book is subtitled A Tale of the Lake District, and this, as the title suggests, is a book about the author's life as a shepherd and set in the Lake District of England. This is somewhere north of Manchester, north of London and north of Manchester. And I found this book to be incredibly fascinating, partly because I have no idea about how a shepherd's life is in today's world. In fact, I have no idea about how a shepherd's life is during any other time in history. And so this was an area that I was completely new to, and it was entirely fascinating to me. I must add, though, I followed this book up after I watched the series Clarkson's Farm on Amazon Prime, which also I found extremely fascinating. Obviously, the book is much more in-depth look and not of an amateur. James Rebanks is a shepherd, and he likes to be one. Very early on in the book, he sets it up really well by by narrating an incident from his life where a teacher in school suggests in some condescending fashion that life as such, or opportunities in life, are elsewhere away from the farm. James, of course, does not agree with that because he feels very passionately about the life in a farm and about taking care of his farm and his life as a shepherd. And this is partly because he's very close to his grandfather. And, so in the very first part of the book, we spend a lot of time where he's talking about his life as a kid, where he was following his father and his grandfather as they went about the business of being shepherd. Now, the book is divided into four sections. It's divided into, as per the seasons. So we have, it begins with summer, autumn, winter, and spring. And it takes us through the life of a shepherd, taking care of sheep through these seasons. And in the process, the book also covers the author's life. It doesn't flow in a natural sort of a chronological manner, but it does cover, important aspects of the author's life as he takes care of his farm and, of his life of being a shepherd. Now, the most interesting part of the book that I found are the scenes where you actually follow the author while he's taking care of his daily business. The grind and the grime of working in a farm. The daily. There are no days off. For a farmer, for a shepherd. As you might already know. So if you don't get your work done every day, it's just going to pile up, and it is not pretty work. You're not sitting in an office somewhere, comfortable in an air conditioned place. You have to get yourself dirty, go into the fields, take care of the sheep, and make sure they're not ill. If they are breeding, you don't really have a lot of help, so you've got to do it yourself. And then there are, of course, the small joys of doing something like this. And when you actually take care of something really well, and that sort of pays dividends, there is something deeply joyful about the fact, and I'll come back to that a little bit later. But what just as a broad outline, James Rebanks is born and brought up in the Lake District. He follows his father's and grandfather's profession. There are generations of his family who's been doing this for a long time, and while he's working his way up as a child, he's very clear that this is his passion. It's not something he wants to settle for. He wants to actually be a shepherd and take care of the farm. And so he does everything possible to do that. But also, somewhere along the way, he realizes that this life probably will not pay him really well in the long run, and he needs to do something else along with being a shepherd. So he actually gets himself into Oxford University without giving a whole lot away, and that gives him an opportunity to have a sort of another life along with the life of being a shepherd. That's sort of the broad outline of his life. And we hear about some of the incidents in his life, we hear about how he falls in love, and I'll leave you to actually discover those parts. But what really stood out to me, there may be two things that I can really say stood out for me about this book. One is this really intimate glimpse of a life of a shepherd, somewhere in the rural part of the world. And this could be, he sets it in the Lake District because that's where he grew up. But this could be anyone, anyone talking about a farmer in Godavari district of India, or somewhere in Israel, or somewhere in Russia. So there is that familiarity of a person who is connected to the land and connected to the place where he's grown up, and the tale of somebody who wants to do a good job and is passionate about something that the world seems to be ignoring of late. And so there is that that view, and that intimate view of a farm life, and of somebody who has to do this day in, day out. And that was very fascinating for me. Now, the second aspect of it, which was really fascinating, sort of coming out of the first aspect, was the fact that the author is, there is so much hard work that is involved while doing this, that at some point in the book, I kept thinking, why would you want to do this? This is such hard work. It's crime. It's, there is a scene in the book where he's in the middle of a blizzard looking for sheep that could be, hiding from the blizzard and probably getting affected, affected by it. And so he needs to rescue them. And he gets out into that snow. And I've been in blizzard, so I know how it feels, to just get out in that. That's brave and that's hard work. And yet, there is no real complaint about what he's doing, and he just seems to enjoy doing this. And therein, I think somewhere while reading that, it just hit me that there is a lot of joy in doing something that you love. Just not for the glory, not for some kind of benefit coming out of you, because there's not much money to be made from being a farmer in today's world. So that's why he needs to do another job. But doing something for the sake of enjoyment, because you love it, there's something very noble about that. And that's really what stood out for me in this book. I highly recommend it. I'm not going to give any stars, to the books that I review. All I can tell you is that this will be time well spent, and you will enjoy this. I might even go back to it after a couple of years. But there you go. Thank you for watching Tatparya Books. Hope you have a good day.